Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Game 3 on this wonderful day of FOF's Heroic League. We've got Team Awe and Wet playing against each other, and I am War Leader, and joining me, coming fresh off of a bit of an unlucky game, is Erebus.
You know, unlucky is an understatement. I think we could have won, but we did the wash thing and we did our best to lose. So I'm ready to cast some games that hopefully have a little bit of a higher level of play.
That being said, both of these teams are in the fight for that last playoff spot. Hecarim, going to be the first lock-in, very good champion right now, did just receive some nerfs, and I'm not sure how much that's going to play in. A lot of people have a lot of different opinions. Personally, I think this champion is basically the same strength as ever, so excited to see the substitute jungler for Team Coco the Dragon prioritize that one.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think Hecarim's still in a fantastic spot. I don't know too much about Coco the Dragon. It's a fun name. And, Hecarim's a fun champ, so maybe those things are going to add up together. And on the other side, looks like we have Caitlyn Braum, a classic lane, very, very strong. I like it.
Yeah, and it's one of that I have played in Mythic and kind of got destroyed by a Draven. I don't think my friend Massive X Long is going to pick the Draven, but it would be very funny if the counter was the same as what was used in Mythic. It is going to be oh no, I thought it was going to be the Tark. I was excited about the takeaway, but they are going to go back to the Ashe at the end and just bring a little more utility out of that bot lane.
Oh, gross. Okay, wait. Come on, do the Yuumi.
They're having
such a strong combo.
Oh, they're just hovering every support in the book now. They're clicking random. Oh, the Bard would be so funny. There it is! They're gonna lock it in!
And Rare Adam with the first Bard of the season, I believe. Sorry, shout out I throw meeps, but let's see how Rare Adam does on your champ.
Now, Rare Adam has been an absolute star for Team Awe. He's been all over the map, whether in that support room or his brief stint in the jungle. Absolutely nutty in terms of the pressure that he exerts and the roams and the map presence that he has. And I'm really excited to see that extended by the Bard pickup.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think MXL and Rare Adam as a duo are a fantastic bot lane, and then Jaffe's, of course, a very strong anchor in the top. I would say Rare Adam is probably looking like the best support in FOF at the moment for Heroic.
Yeah,
we have a Rammus lockdown.
Yeah, he's been looking absolutely fantastic, and we are going to see the Rammus is going to be the pickup for Wet Team. This is something that I essentially just did in our RLS game earlier today, and one thing, though, that I think Wet Team could have done better with this draft is that if you pick the Rammus 4th instead of 3rd, and you instead blind whichever solo lane you're going to blind, right? Because you can protect from these bans with the Mordekaiser that Bacon Pancakes has been so dominant on in this top side. You're going to have to blind one of your solo lanes anyway, so if you just blind them, there's no way that Awe ban Rammus in this situation. So I think it's absolutely something that they could have kept. But aside from that, I do really like the Rammus as a pick. It's pretty decent at shutting down AD-based champions whose damage don't really come from auto attacks. So I picked it earlier into Kayn, and it makes him very vulnerable and not able to dash around, and his auto attacks don't really do anything. And the same is true for Hecarim.
Yeah, I'm a big Rammus hater. I think he's a really strong champion. He's pretty difficult to deal with when you play him properly. And Ashe is definitely a champion that's going to have some struggles with it. Hecarim, after he ults, if he gets taunted, his DPS goes down pretty significantly. And it does neutralize a lot of Jaffe's champion pool as well.
Absolutely. And now we are going to have to get to that solo lane blind pick that we're talking about. And I'm curious to see if they're going to blind Bacon Pancakes or Charu. These two have probably been the highlight standouts for Wet Team, and it is going to be Aatrox up in that top lane for Pancakes.
I like blind Aatrox. Aatrox players are, they're everywhere. Everybody plays Aatrox. It's kind of a top lane staple. If you can't play it, you got to learn it. He's very, very strong in the meta right now.
And I will also be excited to see what Jaffe counterpicks into it. Jaffe is one of the most unique champion pools in FOF, and we've lately been seeing the Malphite come out as the answer to it. But it looks like Team All want to go a different way. Now, I don't think that this Rumble, if they lock it in, is going in the top lane, because Katarina has been playing this mid in quite a few of AAA's games. And it's also going to be nice to lock in some very solid AP for that Rammus and start to shred through. And Rumble can do just that.
Yeah,
and speaking of shred, Fiora is going to be
So
the pickup.
I think Fiora is a great pick. Jaffe's great on Fiora. I think everybody knows that. I love Rumble. I think Rumble's a fantastic pick. I think he's really underrepresented, at least in Heroic and FOF. A lot of damage, very safe laning phase. You take Doran Shield, you can't really lose any trades, and then you just have an extremely large teamfight presence. I am interested to see if they can properly time the Bard ult with the Rumble ult. You don't want to have each other cancel it out, right?
That's a very good point. There's a lot of potential for Bard. If ulting improperly, using that Tempered Fate, it could cancel out a lot of the strong ultimates, like the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, or the Equalizer, or even that Onslaught of Shadows out from the Hecarim. Those are all things that can be nullified if Rare Adam doesn't play this right. And I'm really excited to see how he's going to navigate this game, because I think there's a lot of pressure on him and on Coco the Dragon to make this work.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Out of the two comps, I think I'm going to give it to Ah. I really like Ah's comp. I think Rumble's busted when you play him properly. I really like Hecarim. Jaffe's on Fiora. And, Bard's a wild card. He's already getting his damage out, and the game is over.
Yeah, he's going to pick up that support gold. But it really does have the Spell Thief's edge, so, a small but dominant win for the side of AAA on that one, where Adam already making waves on the map. Just going to walk around, collect some meeps. But yeah, I have to agree with you. I like the composition that AAA have put together. And even though they have a different jungler than what they're used to, Hecarim is a very... I don't know. He's just a champion that kind of operates the same, and he's kind of gives a solo queue, but he's getting caught out there. I was kind of expecting Turtle of Doom to go for that ward and try and stack up that Braum passive, but they choose to back out. Their junglers on the top side. Wonder if that clues AAA in on where the Rammus is from.
Now, I don't know a ton about Rammus pathing. What do you think about Rammus starting topside?
It tells me what really want to focus on is that they want to focus on this bottom lane, and particularly comboing Rammus taunt with Braum passive, with Caitlyn traps, and getting this huge CC extension, and getting that Caitlyn ahead in the early game, and trying to get that lead so that Rare Adam has to be stuck in lane. Now, and what it might actually be is that I don't know how Rammus is ever supposed to gank Fiora with Riposte.
Yeah, definitely. Something else I noticed, Charu did not take first strike, which I think is a little bit of a mistake into a melee mid laner. First strike on Victor feels really, really strong. I haven't seen Comet in a while, to be honest. I think that might have been a missed opportunity.
Usually you see Airy combined with Scorch on the Victor if you really want to optimize for that poke, and I know that's something that Azir takes good advantage of. But we do have Rammus rolling into the mid lane, immediately forcing out Rumble's flash. Black Venom putting out the proactiveness in this early game. And that's something I really like to see, because that's something that Wet have really been lacking from the jungler.
Yeah, no, that's a great play too, because Victor's getting really good harass on Rumble, and Rumble does not have teleport. So if Victor continues to harass pretty well, Rumble's going to find himself in a bit of a CS deficit very quickly.
Yeah, Rumble does have this sort of notoriety for being a bit of a lane bully, and attacking that early at a point where the Rumble's not so strong and into a ranged matchup, it could really put Katarina behind on this pick. And I'm curious to see if that does work out, how that's going to scale later into the game.
And, well, we have Hecarim doing Hecarim things while the game is kind of at its state. Hecarim's a fantastic farmer. There's not a lot of champions that can keep up in terms of his just pure farm speed, at least in my opinion. Whenever I play Elise against Hecarim, I'm always down about 100 CS somehow. It's pretty frustrating. And I think if Black Venom isn't able to capitalize his early lead, Hecarim's just going to end up being significantly ahead come mid-game.
Yeah, and Black Venom just hit level 3 off that Scuttle Trap. Took a very sort of wonky path. We see Once fighting a lot of damage onto Rare Adam, but not wanting to get too cheeky with it. I think it was an opportunity, but Coco finding an opportunity in the top side, but Jaffe is nowhere near the play yet and is getting absolutely chunked out by Bacon Pancakes, and knowing exactly where Jaffe is able to trade for the right amount of time. And, Coco's not going to hurt too much for it at the end of the day, but good play by Bacon Pancakes.
Yeah, no, definitely. That was a little bit weird out of Coco. At best, you're going to kind of annoy Aatrox. I think at that point, you should probably just get your back off, get your tier, get your boots, be good to go. Oh, good stun out of Jaffe.
Sliding in with the repose. Bacon Pancakes is going to send that W wide. Ignite goes down, and just like that, First blood in for Jaffe.
All right, you know what? Never mind. Coco the Dragon knew that was going to happen, got the extra 15 damage off, and Jaffe capitalized and got the kill. Great play out of Jaffe.
Jaffe has been absolutely wild on this Fiora. Season in, season out. It's a champion that he's known for and showing absolute mastery, taking an opportunity that I don't know if you saw, but I would have never seen.
I wouldn't have seen that either. My top lane is probably the worst position that I can play in the game, and that is a teleportless Aatrox as well, who just missed out on about 1.5 waves while already down CS.
Yeah, CS lead extending after the wave is done, probably to about 10 still, and the EXP deficit only farther and farther. Now Coco and Rare Adam teaming up in the bot lane, but Coco's not into the play yet. Turtle of Doom taking a fair amount of damage as Coco charges into the play. No Ghost expended, is going to force the cleanse out of Caitlyn and the exhaust out of Braum. So definitely not nothing for that gank, but little
Rare Adam in a bad spot.
From once week is going to look for more, but Turtle of Doom is just not quite on the same page, doesn't go forward at the same time. That means Rare Adam is going to get out safely. Oh man, there's a lot of missed opportunities in this game, and I think regardless of how you feel about that level of play, it certainly makes it exciting.
Yeah, no, I mean, the idea was good, right? If Caitlyn manages to get off one auto flash, she had headshot, auto flash, stun, you can turn it around entirely. Problem is, they're now down sums, and they're very easily gankable by that Hecarim. If he comes to revisit, he's going to be pathing topside to bot side with his red spawning, it looks like, so I expect him to visit very shortly.
Yeah, and at this point, I think Coco the Dragon should just go for that Platinum Jungle Guide and just get farmed up, just keep repeating the camps, get him on a timer, keep going, because Jaffe might just win this alone. The Grand Challenge is popped, and is going to burn that riposte to not get dragged back, and now taking brunt of a huge wave. But Rare Adam and Hecarim are in the area to punish. Rare Adam going in, taking that magical journey. Ignite will go down immediately. Jaffe going to force out the flash from Bacon Pancakes, but now Coco's coming around. Bacon Pancakes is in a lot of trouble. Coco's going to dash on in, knock him back, and Jaffe's going to pick up a second.
You love to see it when you're Fiora. You hate to see it when you're Aatrox. Great roam out of Rare Adam, and Coco the Dragon, getting some counter jungling done as well at the end of it. Looks pretty good. Unfortunately, they're going to be trading over the Dragon. I'd say that's a very net positive for Team A.
Yeah, these Drakes, when you just look at the bot lane matchup of Caitlyn Braum versus Ashbard, the Caitlyn Braum is going to have so much more priority over that wave and be able to sort of maneuver the wave into a position where that dragon was always meant to belong to Team Wet. So very good on AAA to recognize that timing, and Rare Adam with the roams, the map knowledge once again going to punish. And now Rammus might be in the wrong spot. Coco the Dragon is going to charge in, get knocked back, not find much. Oh, Turtle of Doom is going to use that high caliber net, trying to find the last auto on MXL, and is going to get the stun, but tough under tower. Things aren't going to get crazy, but things are crazy on the top side. Magical Journey brings the Hecarim back once again. Still hasn't used that Ghost. Would love to see here. Katarina, though, on the pinch, is going to try and get Bacon Pancakes down. Plays for it out. Bacon taking so much damage. Charu not able to arrive to the play.
Man.
Bacon Pancakes is having a rough game.
Bacon Pancakes just wants to play League of Legends, and Team A is saying absolutely not. MXL is doing a very good job of making sure he doesn't die in a relatively unsafe lane to be solo in. And, the team's capitalizing on it.
Shattered Crystal Arrow went out looking for the victor there, not going to find it. And that's a tool that now MXL just doesn't have, and is in so much trouble in regards to this bot side that Turtle of Doom and Once Week are picking up free plates.
Yeah, Bard's roams are getting everything done right, but at the same time, as an AD carry, you're going to start feeling a little neglected, a little hurt when you... Oh, wait.
Equalizer is going to drop on the Rams premium really low. Oh, the volley does not come through in time to stop Black Venom, and now Once Week is the one in trouble. Rare Adam is going to miss the Cosmic Binding. That means Once Week is an angle to get on the chart. It's Katarina now, caught out by the gravity field. And I'm so surprised that Wet don't push that further.
Yeah, they had... It seemed like that was a very, very poor position for A to be in after they used their ultimates. I was kind of expecting... Char was a little low on mana, so that might have been why. But
must have been.
That seemed like it was going to be a very good point to turn the game for Team Wet.
I have to agree. Now Jaffe looking at Bacon Pancakes again. Riposte is going to save her getting knocked back, but that minion wave is pretty big. Bacon Pancakes has been pretty decent at managing these waves, and getting in positions where he's relatively safe. Now Coco the Dragon looking for an angle onto Charu, but doesn't get behind him. I'm really surprised by the lack of Ghost out of this Hecarim. Ghost lets almost every single one of these ganks, if you burn Ghost, you burn a Flash, because you're able to get angled behind your target. Oh, Enchanted Crystal Arrow is going to find the stun. Flash Roar from Katarina. Ignite comes down. That stun is so long. Will Charu burn down?
Lives.
No. Very close to burning down.
One more ticker rumble Q, one more auto attack, you got that. That was a really good arrow, but unfortunately, actually, they got Charu's Flash, so now Hecarim can come back with Ghost, like you said. Rumble's ult's going to be up, and it's going to be a very, very unsafe Charu for a little bit.
Likewise, I would like to see Black Venom take advantage of Katarina's missing summoner spell now, get into that mid lane, and make it happen on a very immobile champion.
And wait, we have Rare Adam back in the bot lane.
Hecarim, under that top side, is going to knock into Jaffe, going to get behind the onslaught of Shadows of Big Pancakes, not locked for this world, stunned up by Riposte. Jaffe's on a killing spree, as, man, things are just getting real ugly up in top side, and Wet is doing nothing to bail out their top laner.
When it rains, it pours, and it is pouring in top lane. That tower is gone. To be honest, I mean, it's great tower gold. I think it's going to allow Bacon Pancakes to farm a little bit safer with Rammus around, but Rammus might be caught out.
Yeah, Black Venom jumping into 3 is going to be able to use that jump to get out of there. Jaffe not quite able to find the Vital on that one. And now Charu and Katarina fighting in this jungle, and the Enchanted Crystal Arrow is going to come out. It's not quite going to find Charu. And now looking back at what's on our screens, the Herald does get its second charge up as 3 members from Wet dragged up here to stop it.
Yeah, they all responded, but they responded a little bit late, right? You don't want to see your top tower go down. You don't want to see your top laner be 0-4-0. I think they needed to probably pay a little more attention to maybe bringing up their support. Braum has a level advantage on Rare Adam.
Black Venom. I thought it was going to be more trouble there. The Cosmic Binding. Tempered Fate not quite off cooldown yet. Would have been a kill for sure had that gone out, but not quite up. Rare Adam is still only level 5.
Yeah, that is the roaming bard support strategy, right? Your Ashe gets to not have fun, the rest of your team gets very enabled, and you just you vibe out. He's just having a good time, listening to his meeps, just hanging out.
Speaking of having a good time, Charu on the Victor in the mid lane, accruing about a 30 CS lead on the Victor, is what Wet now have to play around, right? Charu has established a really solid lead. Those evolved abilities are starting to come through. And as the second Drake spawns, it's going to be about how much work can Charu get done in these team fights, and what can Coco the Dragon, MXL, and Rare Adam do to interrupt it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that Charu, Victor is always a very strong champion to kind of just put all your money into and hope that he can just do the best he can and hard carry team fights. Oh, Coco the Dragon has to ult out.
Tempered Fate is going to go down, but it only finds one, and that means that AAA are in a difficult position now as Rammus comes rolling in. Bard going to have to take the Magical Journey out of there, and I think this Dragon is going to go over to the side of AAA.
Rumble does have ultimate. They might be looking for it. They brought Jaffe down.
There's the arrow down. Coco's in.
No smite.
He does go over to Black Venom, but Charu is alone. 1 versus 4 on the side, and Jaffe's on a rampage, taking down the most fed member of Wet, who are going to have to try and get out of here. Ghost from the Hecarim still going. Want him in, but Coco's taking a ton of damage from Caitlyn Traps and Glacial Fissure. Big opportunity stopping that engage, but even though the Dragon does go over to the side of Wet, the gold lead keeps ballooning for AAA, and they've even taken the wind out of the sails of the Victor.
Yeah, the kills are on who you want them to be on, right? And at this, Katarina, I initially thought had a pretty bad Rumble ult, but Katarina actually zoned off 3 members of Team Wet from being able to get into the fight. It allowed backline access. Charu got blown up, unfortunately, and one Ocean Dragon's not the end of the world. I'd say I'd take that if I was Team A.
AAA looking much more coordinated in these skirmishes, and Jaffe, who has mounted such a monstrous lead in this top side, really making the difference in that fight, putting out some crazy DPS out onto Charu, who really didn't get a chance to play the game, and really rough position for the Victor to be in, but you still have a really nice CS lead. You're going to continue building on that. This matchup does, get even better for Victor over time as just sort of that ranged into melee situation gets amplified, and I still think Charu has the potential to make some crazy things happen, but he's going to need to position better, and his team's going to need to position better for him.
Yeah, I actually think Caitlyn's not in a terrible place either. You know, you'd like to see probably having a Gale Force done at this point, but yeah, the boots finished. Caitlyn is going to become a bit of an issue at some point in the game.
Once he's going to flash out, Tempered Fate is going to come in and find 2. Bacon Pancakes doing the best to keep Jaffe off, but the Onslaught of Shadows is in, fearing 3, but there's just not quite enough damage, and Chain Crystal Arrow is going to go wide. Charu and Katarina now arriving to the play, and Wet managed to stave that one off, and that's really big, because Ashe is back in base, and Caitlyn's free farming.
Yeah, you know, Caitlyn's going to come online eventually, right? Ashe is going to be a little... Despite being pretty much a 1v2 lane for the entirety of the game, MXL is not down very much CS. Downplayed gold for sure, but I think they're made up for that, you know, with the tower acquisitions. I'm interested in Hecarim's build.
Yeah, the Trinity Force is not a look you've seen very often. It's one that I see analysts preach a lot for because it has a much better win rate than the Divine Sunderer. And if you're not comfortable going all in on damage on that Eclipse, which I personally feel like is against what Hecarim wants to do as an identity, the Trinity Force is like the statistically better option than Divine Sunderer.
Okay.
Do I personally like it? No, but it's got a lot of merit to it, and there are a lot of analysts that are for it. So if that's the way you want to go, you know, shoot your shot and show us.
What do you think about Conqueror versus Phase Rush?
I generally think that Conqueror is better if you want to be taking very like concentrated like 5-on-5 fights, but I don't think that's what AAA's composition wants to do. I think Phase Rush would have allowed for better skirmishing and being able to get out of bad situations once you pulled members. Where Adam might be in a speck of trouble here. Charu is just chunking with the Ludens, but not doing enough to secure a kill on a slippery Bard.
Bard just kind of doing Bard things, being obnoxious, getting good wards down, picking up meeps. Eventually, you know, if Charu has a little more items, that's going to be a very sad Bard. But for now, he is okay, just kind of hanging out.
Yeah, going back to the Conqueror, though, what the Conqueror allows Hecarim to do is it allows Hecarim to start at the front of fights, stacking up Qs on the Rammus and the Aatrox, and getting rolling with that Conqueror, and then flying into the backline and bursting. But the burst is already through. Once we're going to have to try and get out of there. It's Black Venom trying to find another opportunity, but always appears to be the second man to the play, and it's really not favoring Wet.
That was big damage out of Coco the Dragon, who looks to be finishing Miramana second, which I personally really think is a good second item on Hecarim. I played one Hecarim game in solo queue, tried that build out, and after one fight I had 1100 damage on the item. Just crazy, crazy amounts of damage coming out.
Manamine does some pretty silly things. Personally, I still like Death Dance or even Black Cleaver second more than the Manamine. He finished the Manamine third. It's still really good. Manamine does perform well.
And, you know, there is that CS lead you were talking about in the jungler difference. You know, Rammus was not able to get any, you know, anything that really tangibly stuck going early, and now in the mid game, there's just a pretty significant level in CS difference.
Yeah, once we can rear at it, fighting over a ward here, but Coco Dragon is going to be the first one to the play. They don't want too much more, though, because Turtle Doom also able to show up to the play, and we've entered a little bit of a lull state. I think that does favor Wet to some degree, but now Bacon Pancake's in a lot of trouble. Charu trying to arrive to the play, though. Gravity Field doesn't find, but the Chaos Storm is flashed by Jaffe, who goes unstoppable as AAA make their response in the mid lane with the Rift Herald. Surely going to pick up 2, if not more, charges. Now, Black Venom caught an awkward rotation. He is able to get out with the Powerball. And AAA really pushing this lead with the Herald, and you know, I pushed a lead with the Herald before into Wet. You guys aren't special.
Well, we haven't, so they're special to me. No, that was a fantastic macro play. Jaffe, I didn't think he was going to secure. I thought he was at least going to die. Gets out scot-free. A lot of things expended on him, and then they, you know, Team Wet is out of position. They pop Herald, they get 2 towers, and now they're in a really good position to pick up Dragon.
Yeah, they're going to stop the Dragon stacking from Wet, which really puts all of their momentum they had in this game just halted right in their tracks, and I really like the objective ping pong that AAA just did all across the map, right? They take a fight in topside that enables their mid lane to push for towers, which enables the map pressure to go and get the dragon. And when you just make those sort of like wombo plays like that, it really accelerates the game state. What was a really solid 5k gold lead is now up to an 8k gold lead, basically off of that play alone.
Yeah, you know, The game, honestly, aside from the top side, it didn't feel like it was necessarily out of control. But when you look at the gold lead, it tells an entirely different story, right? Um, it looks Wet's going to have to do something very proactive or start looking for picks, and their comp doesn't necessarily favor finding picks anymore, right? There's not a lot of people you can get on that you're going to be able to burst down before the cavalry shows up and kind of saves the day.
Yeah, especially with the amount of safety that MXL has been playing with. Really piloting this sort of, for Dota speak, P4 Ash, just not getting a lot of gold in the inventory, really being about those enchanted crystal arrows, which, while they have been hit or miss, it's been perfectly serviceable out of MXL, who really all you have to do in that position is not die and let your Bard accrue a lead, and that's been exactly what's happening.
Yeah, and I'm very impressed that MXL is only down 20 CS. Caitlyn Bard, if they had, properly just kind of last hit and they could just walk forward, Ashe is not able to walk up and get any CS.
So Rare Adam walking up, though, into a lot of damage. Chaos Storm is expanded Equalizer down as well. Rare Adam is forced to flash, but that was a lot of ultimates for just a flash.
There's just not enough damage to kill the Bard, which is not something you want to have to say, right? hey guys, I don't know if our combo is going to be working on the Bard. And he gets a double stun too, just for a little salt in the wound. But they're just behind on items, I mean, they're going to have to cut the bleeding at some point and try to scale, but it's getting increasingly difficult to do that. No one can match Jaffe, and I think Katarina Ducount might be in the same position.
Yeah, Big Pancake's in trouble now. Exhaust goes out for Rare Adam, which secures the Tempered Fate. Coco the Dragon's going to be here with the Unstoppable charge, devastating charge, and
I think they look barren at this point, right?
Yeah, Bacon Pancakes goes down for a 6th time. Once week is trying to get some vision, but yeah,
poor Caitlyn.
Turtle of Doom is exploded, and I am very surprised to see the AAA don't go for the Baron here, but maybe they just think that there's enough towers that they can take across the map, because Jaffe is bringing over multiple members of Team Wet who really just don't have an answer.
And there we go. All right, there's the Baron.
They are pinging on the way. They're walking over, clearing out the vision, and yeah, they got plenty of time, right? Turtle of Doom's down for another 13 seconds, and in the meantime, what's Rammus going to do?
Did Jaffe W a Caitlyn trap intentionally?
I think that's what I just watched.
I think that's what happened. Yeah, Caitlyn, as an AD carry player, my least favorite thing is when top laners are ahead because they just hurt a whole lot. And that was not a very interactive moment for Turtle of Doom. Feels bad, man, but it is what it is. Good play out of Jaffe.
Yeah, obviously Turtle of Doom just shouldn't press W for the rest of the game. I think that's the conclusion.
Unironically, I think that might be the best thing to do when Fiora's around, because that is going to keep happening, and it's going to get a lot faster with the more items that Jaffe gets.
Oh my goodness. Pretty horrendous state for Wet now. They're down about 11,000 gold, and kind of just waiting for AAA to make a decisive move to take over the inhibitors and get super minions running and just keep that snowball going. And Jaffe is basically the one-man army. I mean, Coco's been there and picked up a lot of the kills, but with that jungle pressure, accomplishing so much on his own.
Yeah, no, absolutely. There's a 50 CS lead top lane, 2.5 items, almost 3 finished versus the 1 for the Aatrox. You have 2, almost 3 items finished in the jungle versus the 1 for the Rammus. Mid lane, pretty much even despite the CS difference just due to the tower amounts. And then the bot laners are just kind of hanging out this game. Rare Adam has Smite. So they're setting up for Dragon. Okay.
They are setting up for Dragon. Wet tried to converge on the Fiora, but now they're kind of wandering around aimlessly. They don't really know what to think. They're still looking for her. She's been in base for 5 seconds now, getting back onto the map, right? And now Rammus and a bunch of other members of Wet are on such an awkward timing to contest this Drake that they can't. They have to continue turtling up in their base and just clearing waves and hoping that in some way this gold lead won't grow anymore, but I think I got some bad news for him.
We had our jungler's internet go out. Maybe Jaffe's internet will go out. That might be the best play. But I think, honestly, they had 5 people up top. They can't get the dragon. Maybe just try to push for a first tower and get an objective bounty. It looks like they might actually try to do that. Can Jaffe 1v4, though?
Jaffe is looking for the 1v4 riposte. Wilson on Rammus is going to flash out. Once we going to follow and land the concussive blows. Jaffe's now stunned. No riposte available. Is trying to burst out, but the Tempered Fate finds 3. Once Week's not going to be able to pick up Jaffe, and the cavalry is here. The equalizer's out, and everyone's going to burn down. Jaffe making so much happen 1 versus 4 with a sick outplay.
And that is what you get when you usually have the enemy Bard instead of your Bard, but this time you have the Bard on your team
Charu.
that saves the day. Oh, poor Charu.
Not able to get out.
Rare Adam single-handedly enabled that play.
Went were so close to making that work that I feel like that, even with the retrospects, you have to do that. That's just the play, right? You get so close to getting a 700 gold shutdown, and one little Bartle ruins all of it. Rare Adam, monstrous.
Right, no, that was objectively the only play to make, right? And then Rare Adam hits 3, Cavalry arrives, and the day is saved. And then they pick up Charu also. That Bard is a monster, and I would hate to see what I Throw Meeps can do with it, because Rare Adam is being an absolute terror on the Rift right now.
Yeah, and if you're wet at this point, there's kind of not a lot to do, right? I feel like this is a point where the only thing you can do is try and introduce a little more chaos to the game, and see if some coin flip plays, maybe coin flip your way, because I don't know if you're gonna find plays that are as good odds as a coin flip. So start doing weird shit, right? Find random bushes to put 5 people in. Stop clearing the waves, and just wait for AAA to get confused and make a mistake. Because at this point, you just tried a 4v1, and it went terrible. So no actual fair play is gonna work. I would like to see them introduce some chaos.
I think they have to, right? I think there's absolutely, like you said, there's no way they're going to be winning a traditional team fight or even like a semi-standard team fight. They're going to have to start getting weird with it. And, there's a lot of cool, weird stuff you can do in League of Legends. Maybe throw back to Season 3, just start doing the absolute most insane person things ever and kind of claw your way back. They have 2 dragons. If they get some lucky picks, they can maybe end up getting a Mountain Soul. That's a big maybe, but that's an end back into the game a little bit.
Yeah, that's all you can really ask for at this point.
It's optimistic, but we need it.
Once Week is doing their best, has actually been quite admirable in terms of the vision game and trying to wrest control back. In terms of vision score per minute, playing quite well on the Braum. Unfortunately, the Bard does have almost double your vision score, but that's kind of what the game state now. And Rare Adam may be too far forward. Black Venom's going to look for it. They see now that he doesn't have the magical journey, but not willing to pull the trigger. And maybe that's a moment, right, where if I'm the Rammus player, I'm thinking, oh no.
Oh, do they time the arrow?
The arrow's not even off cooldown yet. So Rare Adam getting a little hypey on the play, and that's a somewhat significant cooldown that's down. I think your waves are in too bad of a position to really do anything about it. This is the point where I think Wet's time has passed to the point where they can really introduce chaos into the game, and now it's the 5-man Valiant Defense versus the Onslaught.
It seems like more just a waiting game for when. Okay, there's the play. All right.
Yep. We don't have to wait anymore. Charu is going to drop MXL. Taking quite low. Rare Adam does have to burn the flash, but now Once Week is going to look for Rare Adam, trying to go forward. Glacial Fisher not going to find anyone. Rammus trying to roll out, get in there, but it's not going to work, and now Rare Adam's the one turning it around. The damage from what have left in Once Week is right for the picking. Now, Turtle of Doom just trying to clear minions. Things get from bad to worse. 5 versus 3. Coco the Dragon trying to just get in there, get the Caitlyn in a bad spot, get her eliminated. That is going to be a rampage for the Rumble, and now, that's one by one. Everyone goes down.
And then Bard is going to delay it a little bit, but despite Bard's best intentions, they are going to finish the game. So
17-0. If you don't count the Dragons, it's a perfect game.
No towers dropped. Yeah. It's hard to ask for something better out of Team A. Jaffe did Jaffe stuff. I don't think you can give Jaffe Fiora at this point, right? Every time he gets Fiora, he becomes the biggest problem I've ever seen in a game. And then, Coco the Dragon looked fantastic on their debut. This is their debut, right?
Yeah, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, they looked fantastic. I think Hecarim was where they needed to be. They farmed properly. They had the pressure in the lanes they needed to pressure. And MXL, quietly, just, you didn't have a support the whole game in the bot lane. Bard kind of went sicko mode, but when your ADC doesn't die to Caitlyn Braum and is only down like 15 CS versus a 1v2 lane, I'd be pretty happy with them, right?
For sure. And it's Team A that really take that step forward, trying to establish themselves as the undisputed fourth place going into playoffs. And Wet do take a stumble backwards on their quest for playoffs, but luckily for them, Wash did also lose, so they're still tied for sixth.
Yeah, nope. Luckily for them, there is still a little bit of contention for playoffs. You're welcome, guys, by the way. That was for you. So you have some fans out here. But, that was just a really clean game all around. I feel bad for Bacon Pancakes. That was the most doomed start you could have ever had, and it just got worse from there.
Yeah, and to hear about how Team orchestrated that victory, we are going to get to an interview in just a few minutes, so don't go anywhere.
Hello friends, Chris Edgeworth here. Third interview of the night. This time I'm joined by a fresh face to the Friend or Foe stage, and I am joined by Coco the Dragon, jungler of the victorious team. How you feeling?
I'm pretty good, man. I'm doing pretty all right. It was a fun little way to kick off my inaugural debut here in the series, and honestly, can't say anything better than that.
Yeah, this was a fun game for sure to join the league on. Let's talk first about how you come to find yourself on the Rift today. What was your plan, or what was the circumstances regarding you joining the game today, and your history with this team?
Yeah, so pretty much I was supposed to be actually on the main roster for this team, but I had a lot of work complications, which took a lot of time away. So they went ahead and put me as a substitute instead. And they've just sort of been throwing me schedule dates, seeing when I can cover, what I can cover. And it's very much an on-call duty. So coming in today, I was I didn't know I was jungling until 2 days ago. So it was a lot of, oh crap, all right, better go in, start practicing up, and then hop in and get ready for it, and then see what else they're gonna throw at me.
Well, let's talk about it. So you step into the Rift as the jungler, and you get your hands on the Hecarib, which was just recently buffed because Riot just decided he just needed extra armor and magic resist for funsies, which is, you played it well. Also the rest of the comps all around were just sort of interesting. Of course, Rare Adam getting their hands on the Spellbook Bard, that was sick. On the other side, though, Caitlyn Braum, pretty interesting composition. They weren't able to get off the ground with the early pressure they were probably hoping to have with the potency of getting the Braum passive off early. And then the Aatrox we've been seeing all day with the Fiora matchup on your end for Jaffe. And then Katarina on this Rumble was nuts. So talk to me a little bit about this draft you folks have put together.
Yeah, so a lot of it did sort of kick off into knowing what we didn't want to deal with and taking out the Darius and the Vladimir specifically, trying to throw them onto something that's a little bit more uncomfortable for them. And we had a long conversation on like what we actually wanted for B1, because I'm coming in not really having something that takes priority, and the rest of the team wants to make sure that we have good lane setup to make sure solo laners like Jaffe and Katarina are in positions to become power players. So we want them to have counter picks. So inevitably it just came down to the team really trusting Hecarim as a pick overall. Like you said, like it's a very strong pick in the jungle right now, and I'd say it's fairly underrated, though those changes have been quite recent. So we went with the Hecarim, and from there it was a lot of just making sure we have tools to cover Jaffe and be queen support for this Fiora, because you have like hard engage, hard disengage from Rumble, Bard, and Hecarim, and then of course like pick potential with the Ashe. And to that end, it's like we have all of these tools. We pretty much like have Home Depot in our pocket with like the amount of stuff that we have. And going up against Wets Comp, they have a very small utility like option of just like Rammus engage and then trying to do some zone control with Braum and Victor, which inevitably didn't really come to fruition because of just how far ahead we got Fiora to just like constantly dominate them in the side lanes.
Yeah, one of the things about having Rumble on your team that I think is underappreciated is that it's like almost never where you get the like max range equalizer and then I like proto belt forward into the fucking harpoon and then flames. That like almost never happens where you're 1v9ing that hard. It's mostly about getting that early burst of damage out from the equalizer and forcing them into disadvantaged spaces, which when you have people like Hecarim and Fiora that are able to clean this up, Bard, of course, Rare Adam hitting some nutty ultimates in that game too, it just gets really, really tough when you have to deal with something as ominous as the equalizer. So I feel like you guys had the tools, as you say, you had Home Depot in your pocket. Let's talk a little bit, if you would, just briefly about your team and your comms in this game, because you were off to the races early and you guys smashed it into a decisive victory. What were the comms like in this game?
Well, a lot of laughs going back and forth at the end of the game, and to be fair, it felt like very much like coffee house vibes for us. Like we were going in, we were having a game of League of Legends as friends together, and just throwing out different options of win conditions here and there. And you could see like we were a little bit just like disjointed a couple times in the mid game, but like we all kept our heads on straight with getting in and focusing on like our one hard win con and Jaffe, and then focusing through the rest of like the objectives, which at that point when we were so far ahead, I think we got to a point where it was like 12k and I was like 4 level difference between Rammus and myself. That's when it was like, all right, well, we'll just go with the flow and see what else we can grab from this and enjoy ourselves and see if we can create a perfect game to try and wrap up the season.
Yeah, well, you guys gave him a dragon, so it's not even really that impressive. Really,
they're just big cannon minions at that stage, man. That's what I was telling them.
Yeah. I mean, that's the hard part about getting those perfect games to the end, is that it's like you can be stopping them super hard in the early game, but it's like they're gonna go take something while you're taking their Nexus turrets or an inhibitor or something. It's bound to happen like almost every time that this stuff happens. So in the end, a gigantic win for you folks. Coco, thank you so much for joining me. Before we step away, any final thoughts while you're on the desk?
As much as people want to think about it, no, my name is not associated with the VTuber whatsoever. Thank you for your time.
Well said. All right, folks. Short break. We'll hope to be back soon with game number 4 of our day. See you soon.
You